All right, you're listening to Apostates on the Fringe, a leftist atheist podcast sponsored by the Atheist Society of Knoxville. We are your host. I'm Dustin.
Alistair.
And I'm Sam.
And you guys, I picked up, I went to this little hick-ass store in Norris, and I go there because they actually have it's called like Archer's, and it's a really small grocery store, but they have a pretty good craft beer selection, which is odd for a place like that. And I picked up this. It's called Strawberry Picnic from the Blackstone Brewing Company in Nashville. I was like, I'll give that a shot. It's a ale brewed with strawberries. Tastes fucking nothing like strawberries. It's just like a light ale with maybe a hint of fruit. I'm ultimately disappointed, but I did. You may be happy to know that I'll have this next week. I picked up. You remember the Troptomistic I had like in February that's severely out of season? Mm-hmm. I picked up another 6-pack, so I'll have that next week. What you got, Sam?
Season. I have the same as last week, the Homebrewers with an Insta by Zoll. It's kind of IPA, which I don't love, but
is that the one that was like you didn't announce because it was still in my refrigerator because it wasn't cold enough? Yeah, because
my refrigerator's too warm apparently to chill my beers by the time I get here.
I got Left Hand Brewing Company's peanut butter milk stout.
You go with Left Hand quite often.
I was thinking about that. I guess
because it's a satanic reference.
Huh? No, I think it's just because they have more dark beers.
Left Hand path.
They have.
I tend to stick with Sweetwater and Highland.
I like Sweetwater a lot too, but it's just Left Hand Brewing. A lot of the times their flavors seem.
I love peanut butter milk stouts. How was that one compared to? Did you try the Imperial that I had once?
I don't think I did, but I had another peanut butter one that I was drinking one night on here.
That one I had was fucking stout. It was a 10%, which you have a couple of those bad boys, and you're feeling it. Like,
you know what? Actually, I think that is because I got one that you had gotten before, and that's probably what it was. Because I know I had a peanut butter stout.
They're good. I enjoy them. They're really
this
good.
One's not as sweet or thick as the last peanut butter I had, I think.
I actually try to buy local a lot of the times from Knoxville breweries. Like, this is where Zoll's from.
So, guys, it's August 12th. I got to ask, did you guys survive the global prayer to end atheism?
Today? I converted.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's unfortunate. We lost one, you guys.
Wait, that was a fucking thing?
That was a thing. But I'm looking into it.
I think it was a troll from the beginning.
I think it was a troll from the beginning because I looked at the page and it's by a group that says "Say No to Atheism," and I'm going through this. I'm like, if I was an atheist troll, like, this is the exact fucking page I would run. And then, like, there's even a secondary page that's called Atheism Hoax. And I'm looking at these posts. I'm like, if I was an atheist wanted to troll atheists, this is the exact fucking page I wanted to run with. But yeah, so they held this event, but a lot of people like signed up to it. A lot of religious people to this global, and so I took a screenshot of this glorious troll who posted to the page today. And I kind of want to read this because it's hilarious. It says, guys, atheists are praying en masse to counter our prayers. Please, we need more prayers. We can't let them win.
Definitely a troll.
Hours later, millions of atheists banded together and countered our prayers. We will regroup and try again next week.
They countered our prayers. Yeah, I was looking through the posts, and I think I figured it was a troll when I saw actual Christians in there really angry at it.
It took me honestly, though, it's a brilliant troll. Like, it took me a while to deduce that it was a Poe, that it was a satire. It was because it was done like it. He makes it really seem like this is one guy, I think, that runs it. Really seem like he believes in these posts. It's so funny. Like, but then you read the comments, and it's like a bunch of atheists commenting.
It's a bunch of atheists, and like I said, the Christians that I saw were just like, how dare this? This is so offensive to me.
So I'm glad we had a laugh. This week has been a shit show around the country with school starting back up and mask mandates.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
This one went national news. It even appeared on CNN.
It's our state, wasn't it?
It was our state. It was in Tennessee. Of course it was. It was in Tennessee. This is Williamson County.
It's
just south of Nashville.
Yeah, it's the Brentwood area. It's the fucking rich part of Nashville area.
It's their version of Farragut. Got it.
Yeah, that's a good way of summing it up.
So, like, during this board meeting where I guess they were, pushing forward a mask mandate for all students, schools, on buses, during lunches and all that, only up until September 21st, by the way. This is a temporary, like, mask mandate, but they were, like, losing their shit. Did you see the video?
I watched them. I recognize people in them, too.
You recognize people?
Oh, I recognize people. I mean, not like my fucking comrades or anything,
No.
but it's the same. Last week I talked about Patriot Church and going on this rabbit hole, and some of the people that I've been watching with it were at the Capitol insurrection and shit. One person who you can't fucking miss him because he has a mohawk that's probably about 8 inches tall. He calls himself the Patriot Punk. His name's Robert Chase.
Punk?
Yeah, his name's Robert Chase Matheson.
When we talk about punching Nazis at punk shows, we're talking about this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know real punk shows like to punch fascists in the
Yeah,
face, so I'd like to see this piece of shit show up to an actual punk show.
So, like, apparently, like, one guy was being super disruptive in this thing, and then they just started and they escorted him out, and he slammed something. Did you see what did he put, like, on the board members? Like,
I didn't see what that was.
but he slammed something down on there, right?
Right.
Probably like a mask or something.
A mask, or it may have been his speech that he wrote, or I have no.
But as they're escorting him out, like, they're cheering him and chanting "No more masks."
No more mask, and then they all started like storming out of the board meeting, like they were making this like big statement, but everybody else wanted them to fucking leave. So thank you.
But they were like berating people wearing masks outside. I'll get to that in a second. But I want to make Sam laugh here because I didn't read this on the initial article. I read this on the CNN article. I was like, holy shit, this made our embarrassment of a state made fucking national news
Again.
And so one parent who identified himself as Daniel Jordan, a former Marine, told the board, actions have consequences. If you vote for this, we will come for you in a nonviolent way.
In a nonviolent way.
In the past, you dealt with sheep. Now prepare yourself to deal with lions.
Allegedly.
Oh my God.
Allegedly. That was just one. Another one, so outside, like, crowds were, like, heckled the masked people, and they said, one man said, we know who you are. You can leave freely, but we will find you.
No, did you watch that video? Because that was not some fucking... It wasn't a joke.
I only watched the inside video. I didn't watch the outside video.
That was a doctor that went up to speak pro-mask, and when he left, they surrounded his fucking car and were screaming over and over again, basically, we will fucking find you. The cops were there, like, trying to protect the guy so he can get out. And, like, at one point, there's one guy, his name is Chad Lou, I think, or something like that. He was in a Christian rock band or some. It's a bad one. It's so bad. But he's wearing all black and he's just screaming. It's Rod Lunn. Sorry, Rod Lunn is his name. He was in a band. I can't remember the band name right off, but yeah, so he's screaming at this guy, and he's screaming at the cops for standing in front of him, and another guy comes up, he's like, hey, they're on our side. He's like, no, they're fucking not. He's like, the cops are on our side. He's like, oh yeah, the cops are on our side. The cops are on our side. But then, the cops end up walking out of the way, though, and he keeps screaming, like, we know where you live. We will find you. You'll never walk freely in this town again.
You know what the sad part is? These are the doctors and clinicians, nurses that are putting themselves on the front line to protect the lives of these very people who are threatening them.
Right.
And when they get sick from fucking COVID, which they fucking will, because Delta's not fucking around, and they will be, a lot of people will be hospitalized from this, even in fucking Williamson County. They're going to be under the care of that fucking doctor. And how fucking ironic is that? But we saw so. A lot of this year, we've been talking about people who are anti-vax, because it's been a big thing. We didn't really get to have the show. Earlier in our show, before vaccines were readily available, we were talking about how people were vehemently anti-mask, and that shit's coming back now that school is starting back up. But now they're getting violent at it. I mean, they were kind of violent before, but they think that they want to be able to have their ability, or to make their decision whether their child wears a mask.
The thing about that crowd, though, the Rod Lunn, he lives in Davidson County. He doesn't have a kid in Williamson County schools. Robert Chase Matheson, Patriot Punk, he lives in fucking Coffee County in Tullahoma. He doesn't have a kid in Williamson County.
So why are they going? Why are they going to these?
They've been traveling from town to town to get mask mandates to seem like it's a larger crowd that want the mask removed.
They're the same people. They're the same people who are trying to spread misinformation about Trump. They're the same Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Now that Trump's rhetoric is gone and he's no longer a thing, they still need to push a right-wing fervor, and this is their current battle.
So I watched a CNN article today from someone who interviewed a Trump supporter and asking him why he wouldn't get the vaccine. And he said, "Well, wasn't this Trump's vaccine?" He said, "Well, Trump didn't want this. He only did it to appease the raging left." And he said, "Well, Trump got the vaccine, and this guy didn't even believe that he did. Like they're so ingrained in this anti-vax thing that they don't believe that Trump even took the vaccine. It was just something that the fake news media put out there because he didn't do it. Like I guess he did it secretly. I don't know. I don't know their beliefs."
You know that he would come out and say that he didn't get it if he actually didn't get it.
Oh, he would at this point. In fact, I'm surprised he hasn't done it just to stir more shit.
Well, it's pretty clear that people have evidence that he took it. So
no, they have a picture, and he could easily say it was a placebo.
Well, I mean, oh gosh, speaking of that, I shared an article, and it's not in the U.S., but there was a nurse in Germany who has allegedly...
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Allegedly gave out 8,600 saline injections instead of...
Because
COVID.
She's anti-mask or anti-COVID?
They were anti-vax.
This has the same kind of energy as the Tylenol killer.
I mean, it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So, this individual was completely anti-vax, and it was in charge of, I guess, where the vials, whatever, and switched them out for saline, and approximately 8,600 doses. So now all these people have to get revaccinated over there, even if they may have received the correct one.
Well, the ones who received it will have just better immunities.
Right.
But, so has she been charged with anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Germany. They actually do things over there.
That's good.
This wasn't America.
But because the articles just say allegedly, because, of course, this individual hasn't been convicted yet, as most media outlets will report when things like this happen. But, I mean, it's just fucker like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that shit hasn't happened here. I know we've seen people where they've destroyed doses.
Well, even when the testing was happening, there were doctors. I had a very close friend. The whole family went to go get tested because someone else in the family had it, and the doctor got mad at them for being tested because they had been tested before, and he's like, "You don't need to be tested that often." And he's like, "Well, it was my niece actually who's like." But if we've been around somebody, we want to make sure we get tested so that we're not passing it on to other people, other family members. And so they called back, and somehow or another, this doctor lost all of the tests. Somehow lost the whole family's test.
Why do those people feel like they need to have power over the people that they treat? Like, if you're anti-vax, don't get the vax, but why are you going to, force your views upon, in the case of Germany, 8,600 people? Unless she felt that this individual felt that they were saving those people?
She did. I'm sure she did. Because she they believe that the vaccine's going to cause infertility, and people are going to die from it, and it's, the mark of the beast. So in her mind, she's saving people who don't know any better.
Fuck's sake, that is so frustrating when these people they go to rely on these doctors to provide them with the medication that they came there for, and they leave being
not protected the way
not protected at all, and can be subjected to exposure of a virus, a deadly variant of the virus that is hospitalizing younger people, even children. And we'll get to more stories later, especially in Florida with DeSantis. But I kind of want to circle back to the mask thing because I know it happened in Williamsburg, but you just recently attended a board meeting. Was it a school board meeting?
So After the Williamson County one, I started getting contacted by a lot of people who were concerned because we knew that these people were traveling city to city. So starting Monday, I believe I started getting messages being like, hey, we're concerned these people are going to come to Knox County next. And it was the night before. A school board member who I won't name because this person does not seem to want people to know that they're associated with me in any way. Okay. But they contacted me, and when the school board member contacted me, at that point, like, they were concerned. I felt if they're concerned, then I need to probably be concerned and show up. So I did last minute. When they contacted me, my first question, though, like, I have a nemesis on the school board named Patty Bounds. So I wrote back. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. I was like, well, do you think there'll be any problem with me wearing a shirt that said Patty Bounds has stanky Cooch energy? And they told me yes, that it would. So I was like, so is it the Patty Bounds part or is it the stanky Cooch? And they said it was the Patty Bounds. We can't name it as a school board member. I'm like, okay, so 6 out of 9 school board members have stanky Cooch energy. Will that work? And they were like, yeah, I think that's still maybe kind of an issue. So I was just going to wear a shirt underneath it and pull it off if I need to. But like right before leaving, I thought about all the anti-maskers that would be there. So I made a large shirt that said anti-mask COVID deniers have stanky Cooch energy. And I threw that on to wear in and out. And part of the time while in the meeting, I was wearing the 6 out of 9 school board members. And some of those school board members were eyeing me pretty hard. They could read it. Before you continue, what was the agenda on that meeting? So on this one, it was the mask.
It was the mask. I just want to make sure it was with the mask. Okay.
It's basically the mask. They tried to not even talk about the mask.
But didn't school already start? Like, why are they doing this? Like,
they've been it's been on the agenda. I think it was on the agenda 2 weeks ago, because they're getting emails from people that there's 3 decent school board members here. We have Daniel Watson, Evity Satterfield, and Jennifer Owen. They're the ones who tend to put things on the agenda that are good, and they vote for good things. So Daniel Watson put mask back on the agenda.
No, wait, is Patty Bounds the one that posts like daily Trump photos?
Yeah, that's her.
Countdown?
Crazy bitch.
That's her.
Jesus fucking Christ, she is so nuts.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So proceed, because you
fucking hate her.
You spoke there.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I did. I because I was showing up last minute, and with me having to pick up my kid from school, I couldn't get there early enough to sign up to speak. So, I'm wearing this shirt thinking I'm not going to be speaking anyway. It's fine. Well, I'm sitting there listening to these anti-maskers talk, and they're saying such stupid bullshit. They're whining about their kids not getting air. They're whining about Yes. They're whining about the kids' lifelong fears of illnesses now. It's just melodrama. They had a fucking doctor. Dr. Steve Burleson went up to speak. But when he was done speaking, he walked by me, and I was like, he's probably... No, I Googled him while he was speaking, and the only Steve Burleson I found was a physical therapist. So he walked by. I'm like, are you a physical therapist? He goes, no, functional medicine. Acupuncture.
I'm not a physical therapist.
Right? So we start cracking up once we look in there and see what functional medicine is, So, I'm listening to all this fucking bullshit. And so they had tried to strike out all conversation of mask, but then they ended up rephrasing it, and Daniel Watson got it back on the agenda. But because it was added so late, they decided to open it up and let more people speak. So I actually got to go sign up to speak. And I did. They were talking, they kept bringing up how COVID was... or car accidents cause more deaths than COVID. So I was up there talking about, COVID or car accidents are a risk, but we have laws that require seatbelts. We have laws that require our lights work on our cars. Because
licenses to drive them.
Right. We have things regarding public safety. We have regulations on the auto industry, Then I called out the doctor. And because a previous speaker was talking about how he was a percussionist, and you wouldn't come to a percussionist for advice on trombones or some shit like that, you know? So I was like, you know, this is the same thing. He's a functional medicine. I was like, that's pseudoscience. I was like, you know, you're gonna, he introduced himself as a doctor to present himself as an expert. I'm like, this man is not an expert.
Just called his ass out.
Yeah, and then, I was like talking about I was like, everything else here is melodrama. And I was like, oh, you know, like, look, I'm into theatrics. You know, it's fun. I play with it. You have to talk to you guys as a satanic minister before. I was like, but you know, when it comes to shit like that, there's a time and the place, and we're talking about the safety of our children. It's not the time or place for that bullshit.
And I will call out their bullshit that they can't breathe. I wear a mask all day, and I'm not going to plug an Apple product, but the new Apple Watch has a blood oxygen measuring tool on there. I wear a mask all fucking day. I'm mandated at work to do so. It's at 98% every fucking day. Every time I test it, whenever I'm so inclined to do so, it does not fucking affect your ability to breathe.
Right.
Yeah, that's every year around Halloween, how a bunch of people just pass out and die because they can't get air.
Right.
Happens every year. Look it up.
That's what I pointed out as being melodrama. I quoted, I was like, the kids can't get air. I was like, we've been wearing masks for a year and a half, and my friends and I are just fine. I was like, the kids wore masks every day last year in school. How many died from lack of oxygen? I was like, anyone? I was like, the kids are just fucking fine.
I mean, doctors, literally, their whole job and whole day, every day, is wearing masks that probably restrict more air.
A lot of jobs require a mask to be worn.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous to even think. They don't, these people do not live in reality.
They really don't.
They're
living in alternate Facebook.
These people are Republicans, and these people are religious. Like, it's all the same fucking people that live in an alternate reality. They're literal fascist tools. Like, they don't have they are not in the same world as us, and we are giving them the same platform as if they deserve to have an opinion.
Yeah, the anti-maskers booed me at the end of my speech.
Oh, did they?
I looked at the school board. I was like, if one single child dies this year after contracting COVID in the classroom, I was like, that's on you. If you do not pass a mask policy. I was like, but that's probably why you don't want contact tracing. Keep your conscience clean. And then I just fucking walked off. That was the last. The other thing I brought up, because these speakers, someone had their 11-year-old daughter. You can tell this was written by an adult. They had their 11-year-old daughter reading it, and she's talking about only 345 kids have died, and those that died had leukemia. So I'm asking the school board, I'm like, since fucking when is the school district just for healthy kids? We have sick kids in the school district. Why are we not considering them?
These same fucking, this is what I've been, I've heard that shit the whole time. Oh, they didn't die of COVID, they died of pneumonia. They didn't die of COVID, they died of this. Yeah, and no one has ever died of AIDS.
Right.
Right. Then not one person has ever died of AIDS. Ever.
So, obviously, Williamson County, our county is not the only one that's facing all these backlash from the mask mandates. But
the thing is, though, Williamson County voted for a mask mandate. With all that crowd, the people traveling city to city, even with that crowd, Williamson County did the right thing. Knox County did not.
Hey, I am surprised so much right now. I'm so surprised right now.
I'm so pissed off about it.
I know that we live in the armpit of the fucking world, that our neighbors are the most selfish, stupid motherfuckers ever. I am never not surprised by these
motherfuckers people. Are on the school board. They're making decisions for our fucking children.
They're a representative of the people that are around us.
How
people
long
around us are pieces of shit, so the representatives are pieces of shit.
Didn't I hear there's already been several cases reported already? In some areas, I'm not sure.
There was a PTO president at a school who got
for
COVID.
3 days. Even if you contracted COVID on day one, it would not have showed up.
Yeah, that's
right.
true. I thought I heard some cases.
But right before school happened, it was either this week I heard about it or last week. I think it was this week. A PTO president that got COVID from a vacation Bible school. And so many people got COVID from this event that the church took all pictures of the event off their website.
It's just kids licking each other's faces. They're like, we don't know how they got it.
All those kids, a lot of those kids may not have symptoms, and they went into school.
Well, so it's not just school boards. I want to shit on a few governors who are trying to keep their school boards. DeSantis comes to mind.
Mississippi.
Yeah,
Texas is one, but DeSantis has even gone so far as to threaten to have the funding equal to the salaries of their superintendents and board members, which is totaling $300,000, withheld if they impose mask mandates. And you know what those superintendents and board members are saying? Fuck you, DeSantis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to do the right thing. Same thing in Texas, in Dallas, San Antonio. The mayors in these cities are defying these dumbass governors' orders who are trying to prevent mask mandates and leave the decision up to their parents. And these parents who are right-winger Trump supporters aren't going to send their kids in fucking masks. And it's just going to spread. How quickly do you think here in Knoxville the schools will be shut down?
Well, and we had all these.
I mean, I don't think I have no faith in I think that half the kids could be sick, and they wouldn't fucking shut the school down.
Well, no, because even in years past, even before COVID, they would shut the schools down for 2 or 3 days for flu.
But I think flu is not COVID. This is
Strep
the flu's never been political.
That's valid. No, that's a very valid point.
You have no idea the depth of stupidity of your neighbors.
Here's the thing, though: they can't ignore it when they have no teachers or subs. And that's what happened a lot last year.
A strike?
No, the teachers were getting sick last
that's
year
what they
in
need
Knox
to
County.
do. They need to walk out and fucking strike.
Well,
that's what we really need.
Here in Tennessee, teachers cannot protest.
Fine. Then we don't need any fucking teachers. They need to all leave. I don't know.
But they're actually losing board members to COVID. They're losing teachers to COVID, and especially in Florida. And so DeSantis is firmly standing by this anti-mask thing, despite that. There is a massive outbreak in the children's hospitals are getting full with because this Delta is affecting younger people even more. It's children in hospitalizations are on the rise, especially in these high areas. Texas is for sure one of them, but Florida is leading the damn country in COVID. And DeSantis, that motherfucker, is intent on killing the fucking children in Florida.
How much longer till his term is up?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. Didn't you share an article?
Yeah. That he's killed. He's literally... When they usually talk about killing their lead, they don't mean literally. This is literally he killed his lead.
So what Sam's talking about is there's an article came out. It was on the Daily Beast. I'm not going to have the article pulled up, but I kind of have it. I read it a couple of times because it's fucking... I mean, it's disappointing. I mean, it's depressing, but it's also kind of funny when it comes to DeSantis because... His margin of victory was 0.4%, which is about 32,000. He has literally, through his inaction, killed over 39,000 people in Florida, and that number is only rising now. Right now, in the summer, it's not. We talk about it. It's not so much that the heat that prevents COVID; it's that our vitamin D levels are higher in the summer due to the sunlight. It's going to get fucking way worse.
I mean, the same thing's about to happen with Bill Lee. He's about to kill off his lead.
Well, we only had 20 deaths this week. I keep talking about we need...
This week, but,
we need to crunch the numbers to see how long how many Republicans have to be killed by COVID for us to flip the state blue and actually get some common sense back.
Let's see what those numbers are a month from now, in 4 weeks when we do our thing, after school started back everywhere. Okay. And these kids
those kids are going to bring it home to their unvaccinated
they absolutely are.
Parents, and then those unvaccinated parents are going to die on a lot faster rate than the kids are.
I'm going to say at a somewhat faster rate. This one, the children are being hospitalized at a higher rate due to this Delta variant.
The parents, though, we're already, I've noticed for the first time, I used to every now and then see, foster parent signs on the side of the road. They are everywhere in Knoxville, and I wonder, driving around, I wonder how many kids got into the system because their parents are fucking dead because of COVID.
So, I mean, so this is, again, another Florida story. Something I read earlier. It's depressing as shit, and it has to do with unvaccinated because I'm going to kind of tie in two facts that I read today. The first is that 6 people died within 10 days at a single church. 4 of which were under 35 and no underlying health conditions. The second is another article I read talking about the efficacy of both Pfizer and Moderna, Pfizer being the less efficacious in terms of preventing Delta infection.
Moderna's pretty fucking great at it.
Moderna's good at 86%.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of hospitalizations, 91%, 87% respectively for Moderna and Pfizer. For ICU, 94% and 93%. And then for deaths, this is from a study in Minnesota from over 37,000 people that contracted breakthrough cases that were vaccinated. No deaths reported from those, from either Pfizer or Moderna. So while this Delta has a much higher virulent count, like you will be shedding the fuck out of this virus. Like I'm hearing people saying that getting the vaccine will stop the spread. It won't. Right now it will not with this Delta because you are still shedding the shit out of so much virus. But you may not have symptoms, and you're not going to fucking die.
Yeah, so all I got to do is get the virus, and then go hang out at these school board meetings, and, go chill with the unvaccinated folks, and be like, yeah, fuck this shit, and then be like, hey, Patty Bounds, I'm really sorry. Cough all over her. Oh, I'm so sorry. And we could be done with this shit in a week.
All right, Wednesday night. We're
so we need to go.
School board meetings,
we need to go to the COVID ward, and we're going to kiss on the mouth everyone with COVID, and then we're going to go to the school board meeting 2 weeks later.
Every time Sam talks, I almost...
Allegedly! It's a joke. It's irony. It's irony. We're not doing that. Yes, we are.
Every time
everyone do that.
Sam
I
talks,
want everyone to do that.
Every
everyone
time you talk,
do that right now.
I want to consult a lawyer.
Go lick a
these.
COVID patient and then go into an unvaccinated church.
Jesus Christ!
Just join unvaccinated churches.
Every time I go,
this is a fictional story we're writing. It's all good, everybody.
Seriously, so I'll be editing. And then, because I'll forget things, because we go out and drink, we hang out afterwards. But I'll be editing, and I'm like, I pause, I hang my head down, and I start Googling fucking attorneys, Sam.
I'm not doing anything worse than any asshole in a truck is saying that he wants to murder Biden, okay? There's a billion fucking podcasts right now with assholes sitting in trucks talking about their plans to murder Biden.
Oh,
I think I'm fine.
Bet assholes in trucks were talking about wanting to kill me last night.
Yeah.
So I want to cover this NBC article. I was shitting on Ron DeSantis and other people defying, but this is, like I said, it's happening everywhere. So in Texas, it was Greg Abbott, because fuck him. The largest school districts are requiring masks in defiance. South Carolina's attorney wrote to the mayor of Columbia saying he must rescind his mask mandate. He's like, fuck you. Arizona responded to criticism last month. He signed banning mask and vaccination mandates by pledging not to reverse course, but more than half a dozen Republican-led states enacted such laws or executive orders, and a number of lawsuits have been filed against the bans. A state court recently issued an injunction that temporarily invalidated the ban in Arkansas while the case moves forward. Why are these all? It's no surprise that it's all Republican-led.
Isn't it also really just kind of cute that we're the only country on the planet having this problem with masks?
I think Australia is having some issues because
They're pretty conservative.
They are pretty conservative,
even though they just banned. Australia just banned today protesting outside abortion clinics. But
Australia wants to be America so bad. Like all of our shitty takes on
NewsMax
stuff.
started there.
Yeah,
Fox News comes from an Australian.
Right. All of our the shittiness that you see in America, it leaks over to Australia for some reason.
I mean, I think it's the opposite way. I think that their richest motherfucker made it his life's mission to make America more conservative, and he was wildly successful.
But I do take comfort that despite the threats from these governors to these mayors to these superintendents and board members, they're openly and happily defying them because they have a job to protect their population. Why did you put a hat on my dog, Alistair? We're doing it live. I almost broke into fucking laughter. But now I can see your guillotine earrings a little more clearly.
I got them. A friend came into town this week and got them for me. But my holes are stretched. And they're regular earrings, so I was like, I can't wear
those.
Plugs
in them too.
So I figured out. I'm like, wait, the plugs will hold the earrings in. So
very good. So we'll just line up DeSantis and Greg Abbott to guillotine. Finally, maybe save some fucking lives
with Rihanna.
Yeah,
with Rihanna. How much longer? It was only 24 hours, wasn't it, for your first offense?
Yeah, I'm cool now.
Holy shit! You only get 24 hours.
Well, he's not on the watch list like you are. So
I had 6 more days.
I think I had a 3-week ban once, but apparently it goes down if you don't get banned for a long time.
No, I don't think that's how that works.
Well, you get banned.
I think it goes down.
Only,
because if I can't go from a 3-week ban back down to a 1-day ban, I got a 1-day ban.
Well, you're on a list. Like, you only get to post for 2 days before they lock you down again. That's all you get from here on out.
Yeah, I have like friends all looking for me and shit. But yeah,
you wanted to post. So someone apparently had seen that shirt. You were photographed in that shirt. You were at the board meeting, and that was posted to some group.
They took screenshots from the live stream because I made sure the letter was big because I wanted the school board members to be able to read it from where they sat. So it was big old letters across my chest. And yeah, apparently you could read it pretty clearly on some screens if you were watching the live stream. So my picture started popping up in different groups, and I had friends messaging me. So a lot of people saw that shirt. I've sold 4 already.
Good for you.
Facebook has you on a list, but apparently the Tennessee police do not. Are we going to talk about that story?
So
segue time.
Segue time.
I'm the best seguer.
So it came out that THP had like 50 plus dossiers of activists during People's Plaza protests last summer.
Is that the one that you attended?
Yeah, I was there a few times, but I did not make the list.
Oh.
Are you
butthurt about that?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Because I went and looked at these, and these are some of my friends. So I'm looking through them. First off, they're really fucking shitty at their job. I talked about that rabbit hole I went on that connected Nashville Global Vision Bible Church to the Patriot Church. I had information on people attending this church and more detailed than the Tennessee Highway Patrol could get on 50 people at a protest when people from Knoxville and other cities were coming through. They had, one of my friends, the picture they had for them, it wasn't even them. It wasn't even them. They had their fucking Instagram information on the page, and they picked a picture off of their Instagram that wasn't even them.
This is what we call intelligence.
Actually, I want to before Al continues. You actually shared an image, and you were so ingrained on something else, you missed something else entirely. And I want to read this to you because I'm going to read it verbatim, how they spelled it and how they wrote it. I'm not going to name the name. It says, individual allows to enter the capsule during the special sessions. She is the daughter of a Metro firefighter. She was seen blocking in the Escalade.
Yeah, so one reason I didn't make it into this is they used one single event. They were trying to identify people for this one thing when an Escalade was blocked in. And I believe the Escalade was one of the Tennessee State Representatives' Escalade. And so that's the only thing they looked at. And it's funny because one of the main organizers, they couldn't even complete her profile, and she's very public.
I just want to know, how does someone on an official kind of report, it says on their confidential for law enforcement use only on the bottom, but with such blatantly misspelling and grammar.
This is how smart they are.
This is
you have no
hilarious
idea how fucking stupid our local law enforcement is.
One thing that got me, though, is all over these sheets, it didn't have Tennessee Highway Patrol. It had the Tennessee Department of Safety.
TBI?
On them. That's
TBS?
No, that's who does your driver's license, gun permits, all of that. And I can think of multiple people last summer who tried to go get their carry license who ran into a bunch of different issues. And now we see the Tennessee Department of Safety has these fucking files on people.
Do you know what the purpose of these horribly misfiled, misspelled, misidentified files are for?
Yeah, I mean, they were just watching people, which we knew. They knew. People's Plaza, I mean, They had fucking cops following them home. They were harassed all last summer by Tennessee Highway Patrol, and I mean, they managed to get a few cops fired.
Local fascists.
Yeah, it actually mentioned that in one of the dossiers, didn't it? That they
Briggs.
It was
right.
Briggs, okay.
Yeah, he ripped like this. He was probably 19. He was pretty young. And this officer got right up in his face without a mask, and he said something to him about it. And the officer ripped the kid's mask off his face and threw it on the ground. And
was that here in Tennessee?
Yeah,
I saw that. Is that when I saw a video?
Probably there was video of
Okay.
it, and that's why Briggs ended up getting fired. That, and apparently he was sexually harassing people. He had a whole list of shit he did wrong, and People's Plaza got him fired.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So, but they're maintaining this dumb shit list just because. I mean, now all these people, all the ones you said, if I recall correctly, not everyone even there was participating in, like,
the blocking of the Escalade.
It wasn't. I don't understand. Like,
I think it was most of, like, if you go through the little descriptions, most of them have something about the Escalade or being present or being around. They do have a few other, like Justin Jones was their biggest target. Like, they just went after him a year later for some bullshit charge. He got the most ridiculous charge. It was some kind of aggravated littering. You know, like,
is that like forcefully throwing down the? What was it? Remember the person that got harassed? We talked about it. It was our ACAB story. They stomped on a.
I think it probably was something simple like that. But they charged him with aggravated littering.
Is that really a charge? That's
Tennessee Highway Patrol charged another one. The one that they thought was going to be the leader. If Justin Jones wasn't, like, for some reason stepped away. The person they said would be the leader had drawn on, like, so underneath the Capitol, like, you go up steps to get to the Capitol, and underneath there's, like, this doorway where Tennessee Highway Patrol hangs out in this little room, which like, the door would be open, and protesters found pictures of alcohol sitting around where the cops were hanging out. But so they wrote on these doors with chalk. And Tennessee Highway Patrol charged that person for vandalism and said it cost $2,000 to clean up that chalk. But People Plaza also had pictures of cops coming out there, or video of cops going out and cleaning it up with such a mop. That video is still circulating, and they've added a song about mopping on it. And I just saw that video today, and it had me cracking up. But yeah, they threw the most ridiculous charges at these activists.
Have any of them stuck? Do we know any?
No, most of them got discharged. I believe Justin Jones is still dealing with his charges and trying to get them dismissed. Part of the reason that leak came out, he's the one who he filed Freedom of Information Act and got all the information they had on People's Plaza, and he released that to the media. His charges are still pending. There are a few other, and I believe most of them are black activists that still have pending charges. Almost everybody who's white, their charges were dismissed.
Oh. Sounds about white.
Yeah.
Y'all, this week we get to make fun of some dumbass people. A federal judge, I don't know if it's federal or not, has allowed the lawsuits from Dominion voting systems to go forward against Rudy Giuliani, Mike Lindell, and the former Trump attorney Sidney Powell.
They're crying.
Oh man, they were so butthurt. So this is each of these lawsuits is seeking $1.3 billion in damages against each of these individuals for defamation regarding the outcome of the 2020 election, alleging voter fraud, that they were switching votes, things like that. Mike Lindell was hosting a 72-hour like marathon symposium in South Dakota. And initially, he had got like mad at some of the people who were wanting to leave. He's like, no breaks. I'm staying up here the whole 72 hours. No food. I'm going to stay up here the whole time. And then roughly around the same time that the judge ruled this, you can see him getting up and scampering off the stage and running to the side.
So this one says moments after, and I wonder if somebody else was keeping up and like motioned to him, because I'm just watching the video now, and it looks like he gets up and he's like looking at something and he runs over there, and that's probably when he learned about it right there.
He deuced out for a while.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's looking at. That's what I just rewatched it to see if he was looking at his phone, if he got a message about it, because it does say moments after. So someone else in the background was watching and waiting for the news, and as soon as they got it, they motioned for him, I think.
So there's something I do want to read from this story. This is from Bloomberg. The judge appeared to take a particular interest in... Now, this is about Sidney Powell. Because all three, like I said, we mentioned earlier, are allowed to go forward to face these lawsuits. The judge appeared to take a particular interest in Powell's numerous defenses. He criticized her for depending on unreliable expert witnesses to back her claims, noting that one such purported expert had tried to prove voter fraud in Michigan by citing data from locations in Minnesota, because they got the abbreviations from the state like mixed up in their head.
Okay.
This is so funny. That expert has also publicly claimed that George Soros, President George H.W. Bush's father, the Muslim Brotherhood, and leftists helped form the deep state in Nazi Germany in the 1930s, which would have been a remarkable feat for Soros, who was born in 1930, the judge added. So he's just slapping them down, and that's hilarious to me. Like, they're completely fucked, but I'm happy to report also that this week, Dominion has finally sued One American News Network and NewsMax.
It's about fucking time.
Each, again, for $1.3 billion in damage. And those, again, will probably go forward. Like, now, One American News Network had put out retractions because they knew they were fucked, but the damage had already been done.
Right. Yeah, Fox was already stepping back to a lot of their hosts within the
Fox News has been sued.
Yeah, and their only arguments to get this dismissed without going to trial are the same ones that Lindell, Giuliani, and Powell presented. They have no other defense, so it's already been tried, and they know it's not going to work.
It's still funny because
they're trying to take conspiracy theories to the actual court, and they work on their guileless followers, but it doesn't hold up in an actual court.
It doesn't, and it's funny because when he was initially sued, Mike Lindell, he welcomed it. He's like, fine, we'll have discovery. I'll finally be able to prove voter fraud, but he hasn't produced any of the evidence necessary.
Well, and if that's the case, if he wanted to do that and he believed he can prove it to court, why did he file to have the case dismissed?
Right. So they don't believe. It's funny because once he left, he had a rolling image of voter fraud claims next to image of him holding a fucking MyPillow. As ever. Now, this is on day 2 where...
I'm trying to put myself in the mind of a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, you go! I'm going to buy that pillow!
So, this is when he had fucked off, but apparently this is day 2 of his symposium where it was largely empty at this point. So, because fuck that guy. Who can listen to that guy for more than... Who goes in the first place besides right-wing conspiracy nuts anyways? But,
I wonder how many people had heard clips and were like, hell yeah, or just seeing his tweets. And then when after listening to him and sitting there listening to him for so long, was like, Jesus fucking Christ, this man's an idiot.
Everyone that they listen to is an idiot, so it just kind of blends in with all the rest of them.
I saw a Daily Show interview that interviewed Mike Lindell, and they were trolling him pretty hard. And then he got all pissy at the end and kicked him out. It was at one of his rallies that Trump was supposed to arrive on show up on the jumbotron, but he's completely. Can you stop trolling my dog? He's going to knock that. He's going to knock that fucking nightstand over. But he's completely baseless in his claims, and I think he fucking knows it, and that's why I think he ran off in a screed, because he knows he's fucked.
Of course he fucking knows it. He's known this whole time he was filling people with shit. You think about Giuliani. Admitted to court. I shared another article talking about how He admitted to lying. He's like, it's okay during elections.
Oh, during the campaign.
Yeah,
right.
or during
on
campaigns.
TV. Like, on TV, it's okay to lie. It's okay to throw false claims out there.
Right.
Regarding everything.
You've gotten away with it so long on Fox News. It's just their, like, whole MO.
So when you get away with it for so long, these motherfuckers knew damn well what they were doing.
But when you start making false claims that can damage a company, that's when they can come at you. And I'm glad that Dominion is going after them, because ultimately their reputation has been irreparably harmed.
Right.
By a large percentage of the population that no longer will trust Dominion voter systems. And so I hope
they don't vote.
They'll try to do absentee shit. I don't know, but their party has restricted the absentee or mail-in voting. Yeah,
I mean, like, hopefully, yeah, hopefully they either don't trust Dominion, because I swear, if states decide not to use Dominion going forward, that is a fucking mistake.
For them.
I mean, I guess for the Democratic Party. Because this next few years, with the damage done to Dominion and, everybody's suspecting so much fraud, I think there's a possibility that we could actually get some more states out of this. Because of Republicans just not voting, or because of Dominion.
Well, I think they're countering all that with all their voter restrictions that they've been passing through. We talked about it countless times on the show. In Texas, after a 14-hour-long filibuster in the Senate, the Democrats tried to hold out. They passed their voter restriction bill where it heads to the House, where they had now finally got the warrants to arrest the members of Congress and bring them back to chambers to pass their really restrictive voter bill. But Texas was always kind of red. It was kind of leaning purple, but they're trying to hold on to cement their hold on to that state. Georgia did the same thing. Various onslaught of states have done this, so I don't know what's going to happen in the midterms of 2022. I mean, it's always typically not always good for the Democrats in the midterms after the first term.
Because people are fucking stupid.
And then now the census data just came out. They're going to be redrawing districts, and they're going to be gerrymandering the fuck out of them again.
I think a lot of Democrats may have woken up, or a lot of people on the left may have been woken up in the last few years. And dear fucking God, I hope they don't sit back and stay at home on election day.
Right, a lot of them do.
A lot of them do, but I mean, every fucking, I will say it, every fucking election is important. Not just
things have changed so fucking much in the last 5 years. Surely these people they're not that stupid, are they?
I don't know. I've argued with people on the left more than... I mean, I don't argue with people on the right anymore. I tell them to die. I'll argue with people...
Well, someone's coughing on their faces with COVID.
I'll argue with people in the middle or on the left that say that voting doesn't matter. They're just going to win anyways. I'm like, yeah, you're a product of propaganda to just give up. Like, that's what they want you to do, to just stop fighting.
I mean, I think it's important on every level. I mean, local elections are even just as important, because filling your school boards.
Fucking pushing my friends to go vote for school board.
Early voting has started already, hasn't it?
11th. So 11th through the 27th, I believe.
Okay, and so this is the 12th. By the way, didn't you mention that Trump will be reinstated on August 13th? So tomorrow, Glorious Leader will be back.
Oh, yeah, it's tomorrow?
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Okay.
So for our listeners that are hearing this on Sunday...
Is he climb out of his hole that he's been hiding in?
It's already... He has not been hiding in a hole. He's going to fucking rallies and shit.
I applaud him for making sure that he gets all the COVID infected together so they can spread it amongst themselves.
Who's doing rallies? Sorry.
Trump is. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to keep spreading. And, what's the next variant? How's that going to affect them?
Delta Plus is already out there right now. But it's not a whole lot of data on that right now.
Yeah, I think COVID as a whole is really just COVID period has a pretty fucking high mortality rate, like extremely high mortality.
And mutation rate too. It's mutating quickly.
Well, even its mutation rates are pretty high compared to like an actual disease. Like, I think it really just showed us that when the actual disease shows up, everyone's just gonna be fucked. Like, that's just gonna really be
in its final form. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be COVID, but it's whatever disease has, like, say a disease with like a 50% mortality rate would have killed off everybody.
So
like, it would be the Black Plague too.
So it's Plague Inc. right now, and we're just in the beginning. We're in the high transmission rates right now. It's building its transmission.
See, everyone's like, that game of Plague Inc. isn't over yet. It's still evolving.
Right, it's putting points in the transmission right now. So
you know in Plague Inc. like it's just over when they like do the vaccine. Well, that's not real. That's not how it actually works.
Because when the population doesn't fucking take it, the game did not take into account
anti-vaxxers.
The population would not fucking take it.
Anti-vaxxers needed to be figured into Plague Inc. It would be too easy for the virus to actually account for how fucking stupid humanity is.
So we thought it was going to be a boomer killer in the beginning.
The first strain kind of was.
It's still mostly a boomer killer. Like the new variants affect younger people more, but it's still like just equates to even bigger death for.
But the problem is the boomers know that they were the higher risk, and they are the largest vaccinated of the population.
I don't think the Republican boomers were.
The Republican boomers are, out of the Republican Party, boomers are the most vaccinated.
Oh, you think the Republican boomers got vaccinated?
Yeah, Republican boomers absolutely did.
We looked at the numbers and talked about this.
Especially in Tennessee. It was somewhat between 75, close to 80% of people in the severe at-risk age group. So that's why, those deaths, while are still happening, aren't going to be as high as some of the younger deaths that are happening right now.
I'm hearing stories from friends. Like, I believe one of my friends just lost a relative to COVID. But, like, one friend, their aunt, uncle, and their child is in ICU.
Jesus Christ.
And I think one of them has been vaccinated. But, like, another one couldn't get vaccinated. Like, there's all these different things around it that, but yeah, pretty much the whole fucking family is sitting in an ICU room. I haven't heard an update in a few days. But.
Yeah, our friend of the show, he's had, he went to his aunt's funeral who got killed from it, where he had that same aunt's like cousin and like husband had already died of it last year. And there are people in that side of the family that are like, I'm still not getting that vaccine. So, like, it is just, like, literally killing off, like, entire parts of families.
And that's why they're literally calling this the pandemic of the unvaccinated at this point.
Well, I mean, but I guess not, that you said none of them have died. But, so, yeah, it is the unvaccinated.
It was that particular study in that one state, but there have been deaths from people that have been vaccinated. Yes.
Most people that have been vaccinated have other problems.
They do have other problems, and they're much lower. More rate, like the majority is 97% or higher of hospitalizations and or deaths is from the unvaccinated population in the United States, because it's roughly at 50% or less total in the United States right now. So.
I think so. When I hear about these like whole families, it seems like there's certain people, certain families that are more prone to complications from it.
I mean, you get an entire part of your family that doesn't believe in the vaccine, and then one of them gets the virus and then gives it to all the other people.
Yeah, I know, but some people can have it with no symptoms. Some people have mild illness. Some people, and it seems like it's just fucking wiping out some families. Either that family has like health issues all the way around, or there's something. I remember at one point in time they thought like the blood type contributed to how severe COVID was. That's still true. Like, and I see a family, I don't know how, I plead ignorance there, but, like, if A plus is going through, or A negative, A positive.
I've had flus that are worse than when I had COVID.
Yeah, but, like, if A positive is the one who does it, like, if both parents are A positive, are the kids going to, you do the pundit squares for blood types, don't you?
I have no idea what my blood type is.
I will also plead ignorance on this. I don't know.
I think it's, like certain parents, like A negative plus A positive would have, I don't know. It's been a while since I took all that, but I'm pretty sure the pundit squares would apply to blood type.
Okay, well, that makes sense that it would affect certain families more because of blood types.
It's possible. I remember initially and earlier on, even race became a factor. I know it affected the black population in terms of
that also has to do with how they get access to healthcare. Though.
Right.
That's also true.
Right.
Yeah. let's take an already depressing situation and make it even worse. Al, I think you shared this story, and I didn't get a chance to read it until today because it popped up on another news feed of mine because apparently this is making its wake. And this is a California man that killed his fucking kids over a QAnon conspiracy. So fill us in.
A 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, I believe.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much of a fight.
Yeah, so he admitted he I don't have the article in front of me. I hope I get these details right.
Correct if you're wrong. I got it right.
The mother called the police because he had took the kids, but he didn't tell her where he was going.
Didn't take the car seats either.
Yeah, he didn't have the car seats, and when she was calling, he wasn't answering the phone. So she filed a missing person. The police kind of escalated things, and they did find the phone, and found that he was in Mexico, and that's when the police escalated things. They got the FBI involved. They ended up catching him when he was trying to enter the United States again. They found blood in his car. When asked, he's like, "Yeah, I killed him." He believed that his wife had passed on alien DNA.
So what he said was serpent DNA.
Serpent DNA.
Serpent DNA. So before you go on, I want to tell you how fucking brutal this is. He killed him with a fucking spear fishing gun. Is how he murdered a 10-month-old.
Stabbed them.
Stabbed them. So he didn't shoot them with it.
Unclear, but probably just stabbed him repeatedly with it.
Yeah, I heard in the article used the word stab.
So he confessed
in the car. So that's why that was in the car.
I don't know if his bodies were like if he tried to transfer his bodies, but they like the Mexican government or Mexican police. They found the bodies.
Did he try to bury them in Mexico?
That was unclear, but probably not because the Mexican authorities did find them, and then he did when he confessed to the killings. He also told them where the murder weapon was, and that's when he told them about this QAnon conspiracy and Illuminati.
Illuminati. In QAnon, and the serpent DNA comes from
#triangles.
Yeah, it comes from the fucking
David Icke,
fucking lizard people. Yeah, it's in the article I read talks about the conversion between, and we've talked about it on this show, how people go into QAnon and they fall down these rabbit holes and end up in the anti-Semitic
every
shit.
Conspiracy theory is
it's the Jews.
A father was so swayed.
Well, I'm sure that he was
by these. Let me see what he said
here. He
said
that they would be monsters. He's like, my kids are going to grow up to be monsters.
He said,
I was saving the world.
Yes, according to the complaint, this is Coleman. I guess his name is Matthew Coleman. He said that he knew that it was wrong. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but it was the only course of action that would save the world because he believed that lizard people.
Why did he think that his wife was so like the conspiracy theory?
She's probably Jewish.
The conspiracy theory pretty much states that it's the 1% and the higher ups. They don't actually care about the 1%. It's the Democrats and the celebrities. So why would he think that his wife was a lizard?
The lizard people, when you first get into it, it's the 1%. But when you go far enough, it's the Jews. The 1% they're talking about, they're referring to Jewish people all the way around.
Right, so they purport that the reptilian aliens...
And the Democrats and Beyonce.
That they secretly run the world and have taken over important positions in government and banking in Hollywood. So
why did he think that his wife was one?
It's unclear. He didn't mention...
His wife is probably fucking half
Was his
Jewish.
wife like a celebrity or like in government? Like, why was she important enough to be an alien?
She had
plant?
Jewish blood. It's not in the article, but I guarantee you she had Jewish blood.
It's not in the article. All it says that he told authorities that he learned about serpent DNA through QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories, even though the lizard people conspiracy theory predates both by several decades. But it was to tell you how powerful these fucking conspiracies can be to sway people into
I don't
actions.
think this guy was a sane person before these conspiracies. He would have found some reason to kill his kids, whatever.
I don't think so.
I don't think that he was a sane person.
So I didn't share it with you, but I shared with Dustin this video. I don't know if you got to watch it, but it was pretty much talking about how you create mass psychosis. It's COVID. You create a situation where people are isolated. You instill them with fear, And you stoke that fear, and it creates mass psychosis. Now, some of these people, like the QAnon shaman, he already had some mental illnesses.
I'm sure this guy did too.
So he was prone. He possibly did, but if it weren't for being in a situation that made him more prone to it, like being in quarantine, being in isolation, he may not have reached the point of psychosis to kill his fucking kids. Because this is what this is. This is fucking psychosis.
There's plenty of conspiracies around here. You don't have, like, what was the that one wrestler that killed his kids because of religious reasons?
That's psychosis, though.
Yeah, but
and it's not the one.
It was different. It was religion. Like, you could still say he could have gotten through this psychosis because he believed their child was possessed by the devil, and that's why he needed to take them out. But yeah, crazy people are attracted to crazy things. It makes them do crazier things.
Well, let's talk about. Anthony Warner, the Nashville bomber that bombed the AT&T building. He also claimed that lizard people were taking over Hollywood and the U.S. government.
Yeah, he was a right winger.
Right winger, but also obviously
conspiracy
theorists, just driven by these claims.
I will say, I do appreciate that he went to great fucking effort to get all human beings out of that area.
Still, though,
he fucked up my data for a week. Fuck him.
Jesus
I
Christ.
got nothing, and I'm on AT&T.
I was joking. I'm on Verizon.
No, I was on AT&T, but I was unaffected. But still, like,
yeah, I don't think we were affected here.
We were not really affected here. I mean, my job was. It kind of fucked our shit up for a while. But the point is that these
I don't care about a bank being screwed over by it, though.
It's people's cards information, and they can't swipe their card. They need money.
Yeah.
But these conspiracy theories that lead these people to take these insane actions, now that whether they were previously had mental illnesses, but it's dangerous shit. It is absolutely dangerous shit, and they're just. It's so sad to read that the man literally killed his own fucking kids.
Usually, you hear these the crazed woman does this and drowns her kids, and it was a dude this time.
Well, the crazed woman, that's postpartum depression.
Yeah.
That causes that to happen.
But they can also conspiracy theories don't help because the postpartum depression combined with religion, which makes people do that. So. Well,
I mean, no, I've heard of stories where religion isn't even involved. You have postpartum depression. Your body just isn't doing the things it needs to, and it creates a psychosis.
And I had mentioned I think it was Chris Benoit was the wrestler that I was mentioning who killed his family because of religious reasons.
I mean, we could probably talk about the misinformation with the religious and the fact that the Bible is a bunch of bullshit. And they're falling for it, and compare it to maybe QAnon and stuff. But I think QAnon takes things much further. But it has created mass psychosis. What we're seeing in so many people is straight up fucking psychosis when their reality is different than our reality. You can present
normalized. Religion has normalized
religion
mass
is
psychosis.
pushing. Yeah. Religion is definitely a big pusher of the mass psychosis that's going on. I mean, we see it like Global Vision Bible Church, Patriot Church. They're pushing this shit, and because they're bringing God into it and making these QAnon shits, like linking it all together, the people who are under this fucking spell are going more towards those churches that are leaving their churches that may be more neutral on some issues and going for these churches that are creating more mass hysteria.
All right, so before we wrap things up, let's do our ACAB of the week.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is ACAB of the week.
This week, in our ACAB of the week, is something that we hadn't really discussed a lot on, and that's racial profiling. And I want to talk about a story that happened in Wyoming, Michigan. What had happened was Eric Brown was giving Roy Thorne and his son Sammy a tour of a two-story home. He is a real estate agent. as he always does, he tests the door. He tests the doorbell. He uses an app on his phone to unlock the key device to allow access to the home, and he goes inside. About 10 minutes later, the Roy and his son Sammy, who are viewing the home, arrive, and they're showing the home. And as they're going through, he starts to notice police officer show up, a vehicle show up, and approach, and they start circling. A total of, I believe, 5 police vehicles arrive on this property, guns drawn on this property. Now, in his mind, he's showing this property. In his mind, he's telling them, like, there may be a criminal outside. Stay out of line of sight, because as at this point, there have been no commands, and the police have not identified themselves. They're giving hand motions, military style, to surround this building, and haven't said a thing yet. And so they're thinking that, and then ultimately, when one of them opens the window to try to yell at them that he couldn't hear him, they finally saw him, and they pointed the gun at him through the window. So that's when they knew that they were there for them. What had happened was a neighbor called the police when they arrived, because apparently a week earlier, a man had been detained on suspicion of illegally entering. So he had already been detained and arrested previously. And so neighbors call, they see a black people entering the building, and immediately call the police saying, he's back. They did not identify themselves, and they arrested all 3 of them at gunpoint. Didn't try to question, didn't ask why they were there, because he would have easily been able to defend themselves, but at gunpoint, arrested them. Now, he was able to quickly diffuse that after they then questioned them, showing his business card, and he had to demonstrate in front of them that how he got in by unlocking the device again using the app on his phone. He had to literally do that before they released him. And the department stood by the actions of the officers, saying that was the procedure. And the kicker of the line was, race was not a factor.
Obviously, the person who was in the home previously was a black man.
I would assume.
So neighbors saw a black man. Police saw a black man. Here's the thing. Police detained the man who went into that home before.
Yes.
Which means they would have had his picture on profile. So they see 3 other black men, and they can't distinguish between the black man who was arrested for entering the home before and these black men that were there that day.
Can you imagine that you think these cats are going to want to try to buy that home now?
No,
live in
they're
an
not.
area in which their neighbors are going to call because they exist for being black?
Wait, no, I hope they do.
Go on.
I hope they do.
Just to piss off the neighbors?
I would. I absolutely fucking would.
But my argument to that is they could have easily been shot. I mean, we all know that how trigger-happy cops can be. I mean, guns drawn for someone they believe is a squatter, I don't think is an appropriate response.
Right.
They literally thought
it's not.
They literally just thought it was a squatter. Why do you have 5 people surrounding a building, guns drawn towards a building? And now that's not a safe neighborhood for them, because guns drawn by police a lot of times does not end very well for black population.
I mean, you can only do that so many times before a homeowner would be like, you guys fucking know I live here. You know? I bet once they move in, they'll probably still get some calls, but the police can't keep getting away with that.
What if they go for a walk, and it's later at night, and they get called because there's a fucking...
That's any fucking neighborhood in America.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't had a chance to discuss. We haven't really got into it a lot. I mean, we have a lot of ACAB stories that involve police brutality and actions against black populations, but the root cause of it is the fucking racial profiling that we know they fucking do.
Yeah.
And it's not just the police, it's the white population.
Neighbors, yeah.
It's the white population. And how many stories have we seen where they just call the cops on black people having barbecues, walking their dogs, literally doing anything.
Asking white women to put leashes on their dogs.
That's right.
You know?
I mean, it's not an uncommon thing, and I don't know how to fix that. How do we move away?
We keep naming and shaming the people who do it to the point where it gets really fucking uncomfortable and people stop doing it.
I think they should have put the
charging like fucking the one up in New York, the dog park, the woman who She got charges for making a false report. That needs to happen.
I think publicly shaming him, I think is another valid thing. Like, I think this neighbor's name should have been on this fucking on this news report.
Yep.
Because
I don't know. So like my car probably pisses off some people more than a black person walking through their neighborhood would. Like today, I basically had to go to a fucking mansion. One of the biggest houses I've ever seen in front of me. Like, I ended up having, like, I thought their driveway wrapped around, so I went back to where they parked, and I saw how far back this house went. I was like, holy fucking shit. It was huge. And, like, I think about it, I'm like, you need to start bringing a packed lunch, and when I go into these neighborhoods, because I can park on any street. Any neighborhood street. I can park in one of these big-ass houses with my fucking... It's not the Antifa bus anymore, but it still looks like one with all my stickers on there. And just sit there and eat lunch and see it drive these people insane. Because honestly, I'd rather have them calling the police and harassing me than a black person walking down the street. And just fucking challenge these people. Because I have Black Lives Matter. I have plenty anti-racism stickers on my car, which makes them just as uncomfortable as seeing a black person. Well, nearly as uncomfortable, I should say.
Right.
And start challenging them on this shit.
I think it's also a product of the police system itself to racially profile, because they are taught that, randomly stop this person. There's a chance that he'll have drugs on him and you can get a bust. I think that's part of it too. It's ingrained in them. Yeah. And we talked about that before. But unless there's overhauls in the police departments across the U.S., they're going to continue to target.
They're going to.
I mean, we know they're slowly moving. Some states are doing better than others. I know we talked about Colorado.
Colorado's doing pretty good.
But others aren't. But again, back to the story.
That's why I think like the best thing we can do is waste their fucking time, so that they don't have time to go after them. Like, white people, waste the cops' time as much as you fucking can. Like,
don't take legal advice from a podcast.
Do what?
I said don't take legal advice from a podcast.
I mean, I know for me, they can search my fucking car. I have CBD in there for the point of having CBD in there and fucking with them. Like, it's not enough for them to even test it. It'll be enough to piss them off because they won't know if I just if I can put THC in
my
CBD.
car as a decoy. I mean, what?
Yeah, I actually don't take THC in the car with me very much, but CBD, yeah, I keep it in my car at all times. Just in case they pull me over to waste their fucking time.
But it's not so much, again, in this story specifically, not so much that they were racially profiled, but how the police approached the situation where they didn't do their due diligence. They just immediately guns
drawn. They did
drawn.
as they're trained and as they want to do.
They think everyone has a gun and wants to hurt them.
I hope all three people sue the fucking city because I'd probably win that.
I mean, that was a 15-year-old kid that had guns drawn on them and was arrested. Fucking 15 years old for viewing a home. What kind of view of fucking America is that child going to grow up having?
I learned pretty fucking young to never trust authority figures, so it'll instill that in him pretty fucking young too.
The only time in his life that he'll have guns drawn on him by police?
Oh, probably not. I mean, I hope fucking so. I really do hope so.
I hope so, but I mean, the reality of it is it may not be.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we have this ACAB segment every week, and why it's so easy to have one, because it's very easy to find these stories where police are shitheads and ruining this fucking. I mean, that child. Stop fucking trolling my dog.
He's fine.
Okay. Anything else before I wrap it up?
I think that's about it. Can we call this show anti-mask COVID deniers have Stanky Cooch energy?
You know what? Maybe. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I want to do that.
They do, though. They have some serious Stanky Cooch.
Oh, 100% they do.
I brought that up to my teenage child with the Patty Bounds one originally. I was like, you think I can wear that? The kid's like, yes, and please do.
I don't know if I can title that because of how algorithms and shit work. I don't know if I want to have, Stanky Cooch, because we're going to share that out and probably... I mean,
Stanky Cooch may draw some attention. My shirt got a lot of attention.
I want some Stanky Cooch crowd listening to us.
Okay. Well, that's clearly going to wrap us up for episode 27 of Apostates on the Fringe. Thank you guys for joining us this week. As always, you can find us on social media. If you would like links to the articles or contact the show, visit us at apostatepod.com. Please continue to share out the show everywhere you can and give us a 5-star review, and we'll see you all next week.
You can sense the Stanky Cooch from like 50 feet away.
It's awful. It'll knock you down. Also, ACAB.
Thank you all very much.
Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.